Dear colleagues, we are resuming our kickoff meeting. So we are now back from the lunch in the ministry, and hope that you also had some rest a little bit from our intensive kickoff meeting. And I see that Olga Polotska is very cheerful, ready to present the National Research Foundation of Ukraine, our esteemed partner. So Olga, are you ready to share your presentation? Okay, so we will start with Olga's presentation, and then we will switch to presenting work packages.
Alexander, well, thank you so much for giving the floor to me. The thing is that I would like to make sure that I understand the task correctly at the moment. So, well, in my presentation, this is the combination of the presentation of the NRFU and the work package. So, well, maybe I should wait a little bit and then present the National Research Foundation.
In this case, yes, if possible, let's do like this. Yes, indeed. So then, if I'm not mistaken, so you have to present work package 4, right? Okay, so then let's wait. Yeah, indeed, to the work package 4. That will be combination. Very good. Many thanks. Okay, so let me then start presenting myself, and I will try to be short, but still present the main things of our work package. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Many thanks. So, dear colleagues, as you remember, we have 6 work packages, and now I want to present the first one. This work package is essential, of course, and it is like, how it goes this? It will last as long as the project will last. So I don't remember the name, but it's the exact word for this, but in any case, it will last as long as the project and will help us to achieve all project results. Here you can see the time slots for activities, for tasks to be carried out in this work package. So we have 8 important tasks. And I'm happy that we are already started, let's say, implementing the first task, task 1.1. I will just stop for a moment to send the link to our meeting to our colleague who is asking for this, and I will be right back. 1 second. Colleagues, can anyone send the link to our, because it's very difficult to do this at the moment, can anyone send the link to the Zoom meeting to Gregor? Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. So I will continue. Yes, so as I said, we see here as 8 tasks of the work package 1. So we are now implementing the first part, organizing the first part of the kickoff meeting at Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine. We will also have the second part of the kickoff meeting, which is to be combined with our training workshop in TU Delft. After that, of course, we will have tasks of project coordination, which is rather obvious. The promotion of project outputs and activities, which we will be doing on the regular basis. Project financial management, which is also rather typical for such projects, and equipment procurement. We have previously discussed that we Polytechnic will procure the equipment for all the partners and then distribute this equipment to our Ukrainian partners. We have vast experience in that because we have just finished the procurement for the Optimal project, and from our experience, it's the best way to move forward. Otherwise, it will cause tremendous delays. Also, next task is project internal monitoring, risk management and steering, which is also obvious. And let me tell you that, as you know, we have already shaped our project steering committee. I received letters from all of the partners, and now we are, let's say, operational. Our consortium is operational as we can make decisions. And we, so of course, we will not get a steering committee for like some minor decisions, but for major ones, we need to do that. Also, the critical part of our project is national consensus workshops. What I mean by this? Our ministerial working group, which representatives of which are here now, of course, is very important, but it is limited by number, and it represents many different organizations, but still not everyone who would like to be represented. Therefore, we will organize online workshops where we will report to Ukrainian academic community and general public the results of Optimal project, sorry, Open4UA project, of course. And okay, can you see the presentation now?
It's not full screen.
It's not full screen, okay. Apologize.
Yeah.
How about this?
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay, -6. So, and we will make it online, and we will ask our partner, Minister of Education and Science, to help us with disseminating this information. So basically, we will report to Ukrainian society what we achieved and ask for feedback. Of course, like our first national consensus workshop will not be that, let's say, dramatic, because we will only represent the recommendations of our partners. But then, when we will come to present our proposed legislation amendments, let's say, and other things, then it might be very interesting, right, to organize this. So that's basically the tasks which we need to carry out. For the purpose of effective organizational management, we created a Microsoft Teams environment where all documents are stored, and where we will work on our project outcomes. I know that there are some issues with access to this Microsoft Teams by partners, and we have already analyzed that probably this is due to the newer version of Microsoft Teams we are using. I think that we can, we will surely fix these problems, and we are at your disposal for any help in this regard. Also, as you know, we have mailing lists, several mailing lists, general one, Ukrainian one for the steering committee, and we will shape extra mailing lists, and also one for the our platform, which we do for National Research Foundation. And we will create extra mailing lists if needed. We have already shaped the advisory board of the project. So here we have Yulia Zvershenko, who is actually former Director General of the Directorate for Science and Innovation in the Ministry. So Grigory Mazulevich was once a member of her team. So, and she is very active in our ministerial work, right? Tony Raskolauer, who presented earlier today, is our colleague in the Optimal project, and he is a leader of the Open Reproducible Research Group at TU Delft. Alexandra Antoniuk is the chair of the scientific committee of the National Council of Ukraine for the Development of Science and Technology. She is a professor in mathematics, and she will probably join us later today, so we will be able to communicate with her in person, and she is also very active in our work. Redet Zimperman is very interesting asset and very valuable asset for our team, because she's not only scientific secretary at the Research Council of Lithuania, but she's also a member of Opus project, which results we frequently use and mention in the working group and in our work. And also, last but not least, it's David Meller, Director of Policy Center of Open Science USA. And David Meller was, let's say, suggested by Brian Nosek, who was first invited. And Brian is one of the, let's say, key players on the open science scene worldwide. So here we have several outputs, deliverables, which we need to, let's say, prepare. So, of course, most of them are in the progress, and I marked with yellow those which we already started delivering, right? Green one is what we already have, so we have already project website, and we have started to summarize conclusions of the kickoff meeting. Also, we need to, of course, deliver progress report to ESR. We need to organize national open science consensus workshops. We need to organize national surveys in open science at higher education institutions. And we need to publish news and updates about our project, which we will do on a regular basis. Okay, so here is our website, which is available. It's a part of the Greek Polytechnic website, and that's our, I believe it's a good practice. Why? Because I have seen too many project websites which start existing after the project ends. I mean, the funding is over, and then project websites often disappear. As we organize it as a part of the university website, we are more, let's say, sure that it will last longer. Right? Also, and I don't understand why no one is taking pictures of these QR codes and not subscribe. Please do. That's our social media accounts, and of course, yes, we have one of one of Facebook, one of Twitter, and I of course suggest that you not only follow them, but also like, share, and help providing content for these social media channels. All right, so again, thanks for your attention, and if any questions, there are any questions to me, please, I'm more than welcome to hear them and to answer them. No, everything clear. Fine, fantastic, very good. Then we move to our work package 2, which is knowledge transfer. That's a super crucial work package to kickstart actually the actual work of the project. And here we have Sebastian Dalla, who represents the University of Ljubljana, and will be probably leading this work package on behalf of this organization. Sebastian, please.
Thank you, Oleg. So let's quickly go through the second work package. Again, now it's moving forward. So to put this into context, if we look in the strategic objectives, of course, of the proposal, so the strategic objectives that are described in the application are fostering the national reform, introducing advanced approaches at the national level, and fostering the institutional reform. These are all things that don't appear just in the vacuum, of course, but there's already things that we can build on, and that's the proper goal for this work package. So the overarching objective for work package 2 is, of course, that we try to transfer that knowledge which the European partners or outside partners have already gathered from experience from different things that have been undertaken in the past years. And we use that then as a reference basis, as a collection of best practices, and we derive recommendations how this may be applied, adapted, or transferred in which way ever in the then ongoing activities in the other work packages. So that's what can we take from the experiences from the other countries, take it into account how the situation is now in Ukraine to support the amendments of the legislation. What can we use as experiences from the national reforms in other countries? Again, to transfer this into Ukraine, and the same for the institutional reforms. And so this is something that will really greatly help and support to make this successful. Particularly so, however, since this depth and these really comprehensive reform, that's something that to this degree other countries have not yet performed, quite openly so. So we are heading towards something that's it's coming from a realization that it's needed and that it's very worthwhile. But the goals that the project has, that's something really coming into new territory. But we want to use, of course, as much as possible already charted things to understand how this is working, what to avoid, what kind of pitfalls there might be, and what is really helping very much to make this a success. And this is then split into two objectives in this work package too. Number one is that we're going to organize 3 different training workshops in these European partner cities, or with these European partner organizations. And after the 3 training workshops, finally, we want to get to recommendations where we really document the insights that we gathered and recommend how to progress then in those 3 the other work packages and to make this work out. Right, so how do we do this in terms of activities? I mean, the tasks are then pretty obvious. So we have the 3 tasks for the training workshops, and finally the task for producing the recommendations, the report and recommendations. And if you look into the time schedule, then we'll see that also due to the earlier than initially thought start, or the relatively hectic start of the project, so to say, we're already quite a bit in. So we had acknowledged for half a year to do these things. However, in the way that administratively with the agency everything went, we are of course with the first 2 workshops a little bit later than initially thought, or than we had thought in the application stage. So those deadlines for the deliverables have been moved a little bit, and the first 2 workshops will be taking place in March, and the last workshop, the 3rd workshop, will be taking place in April. And in parallel already, we will start drafting on the document for the recommendations and report. How this makes sense and how this comes together, we'll take a look at in a moment. So in order to be also very effective and make the best use of our travel time, the time abroad, and really how we spend these resources, these capacities for the workshops, the decision was made already in the application stage that it's going to be super worthwhile to combine several events together. Sasha already mentioned this earlier, that we will have the second part of the kickoff meeting, the one then where also the European partners can more easily participate. We will have these events combined then with the workshop in the Netherlands and the workshop in Belgium, because well, those are so close by that it's very easily possible to travel there. And then just within a half a day or within a few hours to come from the partner at TU Delft and travel over to Brussels. This is a super quick ride by train. And so then we really can make them the most worth out of the long travel distances to already get there in the first place. So those events will be taken together in March. The timing is as follows, as it's planned now. We're gonna have the event in Delft on March 11th through 13th. The preliminary program, draft program, says that the morning of Wednesday, March 13th, actually will not be then the workshop, but this will be the second part of the kickoff meeting. So we'll have 2 days of active collaboration, workshop, presentations, insights, discussions, and so forth. The program for this is almost ready, so this will be shared in detail soon. Then we'll have a half day for the second part of the kickoff event, then live also with us from the European countries, and then and in the afternoon, or in the evening, it's then the travel over to Brussels to then have 2 more days in Brussels with the second workshop. So that's the planning of the first, in this case, 3 events: the event, second part of the kickoff, plus the first 2 workshops of this work package. The third workshop will be in Ljubljana in Slovenia. So this is a little bit to the other side of Europe. So this didn't make sense to join in together in the same kind of in the same week, but rather this will be 1 month later, so that we already then had the chance to reflect on what we have worked out beforehand. The timing is also such that we will have another that there's going to be another event in parallel in Ljubljana that is thematically connected. So we will also have a chance, at least for like half a day or part of an afternoon, to connect together with that event. I'll explain a little bit more in detail later. Sorry. The planning then is that the workshop in Ljubljana, the event in Ljubljana, will take place in the week of April 22nd through 26th. The exact travel dates, that's still a matter of discussion, if we are gonna arrive on Sunday already or Monday morning and start here, or if it's gonna be moved over like one day ahead or back. So it's intended as a 4-day workshop, and hence the two blue ones. So the exact timing is something we'll fix in the next likely 2 weeks. So anyway, you can already earmark the week for this third workshop that's going to be taking place then in April. So with the event that's gonna happen in parallel, that I mentioned there, this is gonna be the annual seminar of the network of universities from the capitals of Europe. Besides Ljubljana, there's also at least one partner organization in our Open4UA project who is a member in the same network. But this event is open and free for all to participate. And they explicitly also, when we were discussing about the timing of the workshop and found this timely overlap, they were very interested to connect to more of the Open4UA partners and explicitly invited us if we would like to also submit short contributions, insights with regards to open science and research assessment. And so if you'll follow the agenda through the QR code, you'll see it's effectively a 2-day event where really interesting, mainly interesting for the topics we are discussing. This is going to be the afternoon of Tuesday, 23rd of April. So the idea would be that we will have that we could have like 1 or 2 sessions that could be combined between the UNICA event and our workshop. This is still something we can discuss, we can debate, and we can jointly decide, but it's of course highly recommended because of the thematical overlap and how this can go really in both directions between our project consortium and this network of the universities. And then finally, for the fourth task, to really get to the recommendations, the idea is to structure this in an increasing manner, like going up the staircase. So one part that already we can start putting together now is the current situation in Ukraine. What's the status quo at the moment regarding open science, with the National Open Science Plan that you already have in place, with a lot of things that are already happening? What's the status quo on research assessment? How does it look like now? What are the practices? And the third part in this first on this first step is what are the currently ongoing reforms, because also they are happening. As we heard at an earlier occasion with the current working group at the ministry that is referring to research assessment. So there's also ongoing reforms already that go in parallel to the project, but that we should connect and highly interact with. And so these things, of course, need to also go into this report, into this deliverable as the baseline where we stand now and what's already there. Then the second part will be insights from the workshop in Delft. So these are best practices on open science and research assessment in the way what's currently being done in the Netherlands, and with the speakers that they will have at the workshop. And of course, then we will also summarize on the outcomes from the workshop, because it's not just the reports, what they are doing, but it's actively interacting, it's a discussion, and it's something where we co-create at the workshop already. And so these outcomes will, of course, go already into the report. Similarly, there's going to be one chapter as a report for the things that happened at the workshop in Brussels. And another one for everything that we're going to be discussing for the situation in Slovenia, how this developed, how this is looking like, what we learned from there regarding open science research assessment. And with these 3 big outcomes of the 3 workshops, then of course the idea is to conclude this and summarize up what did we learn now for the work packages that are following after. What can we draw as conclusions for the Ukrainian reforms regarding open science at the national level, regarding open science at the institutional level, regarding the research assessment reform on the national level and at institutional level. What can we really learn there? So this is more really the concluding part, directly aiming at the following work packages, so that they have a basis there. However, this kind of conclusion or summary will not necessarily be super meaningful or super helpful for the individual institutions or for the individual policymakers at the national level. So correspondingly, we'll also go in probably more like a bullet point form or in a very short form. What are the specific recommendations for those actors, for the national policies? What are the specific points, the specific recommendations in a very short form for the institutional implementation support? And in this way, really have both sides well covered and can easily collaborate then further on through the project and can much more easily, hopefully, and much more successfully still really implement all these things that are planned. Wrapping up, what are then the next steps to get there? Until the beginning of February, you will receive an email on the one hand side with the invitation to contribute to the report already with those draft structure. The structure doesn't need to stay in place. It's just the one we projected for now. If we see that it would make sense to combine in another way, we can of course still change the structure. But in order for you to already contribute there, you will get an invitation and a notification again with the workshops. The detailed information about both workshops will be available until latest mid-February, until latest February 19th. So you can really easily plan, book, and be sure to be able and attend the workshops. And then, of course, we have the two big weeks of workshops, the one week with the 3 events in March and the 1 week with the event in Ljubljana in April. So that until April 30th, which is the deadline at which the work package formally ends. So the deadline until which we really need to finish the publication of the recommendations so that we can really effectively wrap this up until then. All right, that's my presentation. So let me stop the screen share and see, is there anyone who wants to comment something, has a question, or yeah.
Sebastian, many thanks for this amazing presentation, because it was really very detailed and I mean, really very thanks for this. Dear colleagues, I mean, this work package is the work package we will be starting working on right now, I mean, very quickly.
Yes.
So I totally ask you to really ask questions if you have. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's the last chance to do that, but it's such a nice opportunity because Sebastian have just presented everything. So, are there any questions? Oh, please, Georgi.
Should I come to you?
Speak and we'll ask. Fine? Okay.
No, don't hear anymore. It seems it went through your microphone, Oleg.
Okay.
Sorry. Let's try again.
Okay. You showed us the steps, and the first step, the blue one, was the current situation in Ukraine. So
Yes.
we should prepare some information for you, some questions which you should cover in your trainings, or you already know what you have to say?
Yes, both, please. So there's, of course, some things that are pretty clear that these will be worthwhile to show. For example, you already saw in the morning the brief overview of this big supporting project in Slovenia that's really supporting the changed legislation. And this is part of which could go into the toolboxes we are projecting in the project here. How to support the researchers under the changed legislation to really make this a reality. So it's obvious that this project and everything they have achieved until then will be presented in Ljubljana, and this will be then also part of a discussion and of an exchange to really see how can we transfer this best into the Ukraine setting, or which lessons learned can we best transfer into the Ukraine setting. So these things, a couple of those things are clear what's going to be what we need to present. Some things are pretty obvious. On the other hand, any of your questions are super welcome. If you have anything that you would like covered, anything that you would already like to ask or point out in advance, please do, please send, so we can make sure to integrate this in the workshops.
Thank you.
Any thanks? Are there any questions from the audience? No? Okay, Sebastian, probably it was a very clear presentation, huh? So
The
thanks.
presentation is also available already on the Teams, so if you have access there, you already have it to follow up.
Yes,
all.
thanks again, Sebastian. So yes, indeed, those who don't have access yet, I believe that probably these are just technical things which we will of course solve. But we need to make sure that everyone has access to it because it's crucial information environment for the project. All right, okay. Let's move to the work package 3, right? And we have our colleagues from National Law University who will present. Do you have presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, then 1 second. Okay. Yeah.
Where exactly is the links in which folder?
We'll ask Sebastian, in which folder is the presentation?
It's in the work package 2 folder, and it's the only thing yet that's included there. I can screen share to show you if you like. So in the work package 2 folder, not under the chats, but under the files, under the data file structure, there's the presentation. So you can follow up on these things.
Okay, can you see the screen now? Full scale? Sebastian, can you see the screen now?
Sorry. Ah, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm, as was introduced, from Law University, and lawyers are famous for being overly talkative. However, I will not go that way. I will try to be succinct today and briefly outline why we are involved, which is a huge honor for us, and we are humbled to be part of this project. So why are we here and what is our task here? So in a few words, the project is aimed at making changes in the realm of research and scientific and academic activity. And that is a pretty big challenge and a pretty big reform because we are trying to change the principles of how science is made and how science is assessed. And that is a pretty big reform. And in order to implement that reform, we need to have a proper legal framework. And if you take a look on 8 pillars of the open science paradigm, which was enumerated by the European Commission, you probably will notice that many of them call for some legislative amendments, because many of the issues, they intertwine with legal aspects of research activity. For instance, and first and foremost, it is intellectual property, and it is regulations on the attestation of scientific and research institutions. So, and that is why we are here. Exactly, the Law University is in charge of the part of the project which is the draft of the law which would implement the principles of open science into Ukrainian legislation. And to some people, it may look a pretty much boring task and maybe the most boring part of the project, but that's what we do. That's what lawyers do. To tell you just one number, according to even rough estimates, there are 110 legislative acts that in one way or another touch and concern the issues that we are addressing within the project. And so you can also see on the slide that this system of legislative acts is pretty multi-layered. because we have international acts, we have European acts, we have national laws, and apart from that, we have bylaws and so-called secondary legislation. And so our first task is to make kind of an inventory of Ukrainian legislation and to figure out whether our legislation fits to the purpose and to the principles of open science and to the European legislation, namely directives on copyright and other directives that operate in the European Union. So our first task is to study Ukrainian legislation from the perspective of open science principles and figure out where we have a kind of a drawbacks and where we have places or where we have room for further improvement and what needs to be amended. So we undertake an obligation to prepare a report on the current state of affairs, on current status quo or state of the game with Ukrainian legislation, and to make like of an inventory, as I've said, whether our current legislation fits the purpose of open science principles. And after that, and of course, building on the results of the previous work package and best practices studied on the workshops, we will try and we will do that. We will prepare the draft law which would amend Ukrainian legislation in accordance to the European standards of open science and modern indexes of assessment of research activities. And so that is pretty what we are going to do. But in order to do that, we also will have to convey a roundtable. And as far as I recall, we will have to do that in May, yeah, because
Not sure, but maybe check.
yeah, okay, so originally we planned to discuss these issues on the annual Kyiv International Legal Forum, but it usually is held on September, and so that's too late. So we agreed that probably in May we will convey a roundtable. And on that roundtable, we will present the ideas on how to change Ukrainian legislation. And all the, of course, all the members of the consortium will be invited there and a broader public as well, so that we would be able to gather some feedback on our ideas on the amendment of legislation. And as a result of the broad and general discussion on the amendments prepared, we will then come up with the final document for the draft law on the amendments. So that's our task here. Thank you for your attention.
Makes sense. Gabriel, do you have any questions? Irena, please.
Thanks a lot. My question is more to Sasha. Can you share the results of Ukrainian legislation analysis and received from Odessa Law Academy when we worked on national open science plan? So we had a team, I think they were maybe from Odessa, I don't remember exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And they did their, as 2021, they looked at all Ukrainian legislation that mentions open access, open science, research data, and then provided a report to us, which was more like a working document. It was never published, but maybe it would be useful for your analysis because you, yeah, I don't know, we haven't started yet. Maybe it's a good place to start because then we need to do it again.
I will surely send you this document, but to be honest, I have many questions.
Okay. Yeah, but in any case, it could be useful for us, whether it's of high quality or not, nevertheless, something to start with. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, Sebastian has a question. Sebastian, please.
If I may, or maybe more of a comment than a question, actually. So with this discussion that the Kyiv Legal Forum probably is too late and that we should rather organize our own roundtable than to fulfill the project promises and get the outcomes on time. there's one thing from another project consortium that I feel applies quite nicely here, where they found and told that while you can have only one press conference for any such outcome, you can have similar kind of like roundtable or such events, particularly public events, in several places, even with the same content. So that's to say, then why not do both in the same kind of way? The Kyiv one will be too late to be accounted for as the deliverable, of course. But still, if we have the capacity, I think it would be super good and super helpful, nonetheless, to have the same thing there. Don't you think? Maybe.
Sebastian, you have to pick right, of course. I think that it will. I mean, but yes, we will disseminate it in this forum and other forums, and I also have some questions and also comments for this. So I totally second Sebastian on this. But any other comments? No, okay. First of all, many thanks for this presentation. I really like your approach, and I can feel that this approach is very systemic, which I do like very much. And regarding your first this colorful, no, don't have to share. This colorful table, I really like that you focused on your opinion priorities, and that's very good and very logical way to start. Amazing, very good. And regarding this forum, active forum, I believe that we have already discussed this with Dmitrovchenko, and the idea was so this roundtable, whatever, will be a pre event. So it is formally like a part of this active forum, which is it doesn't cost anything to anyone. I mean, for the organizers, but will help us to disseminate it. Indeed, the scale of this output cannot be overestimated. It's like an exponential math. It's very high level impact. Yes. Okay. Following our yesterday discussion. Yeah? And I just want to stress that we have this national consensus workshops, which will be online, but will be pushed and disseminated by the ministry. Because I already have experience with events disseminated by the ministry, so they really have this large audience, they really have this large input. So, of course, we will discuss the specific dates of this national consensus workshops within the consortium, so you also on the table, but please use this opportunity for like discussion. So if you even have anything like in April or in May, like this year, please do. Even if it's like in half an hour, if it is a general approach, we still need to communicate, because communication in this process probably is one of the most crucial things. Okay, dear colleagues, I really like the approach indeed. So if you have any other questions, comments, no? Then thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Dear colleagues, so just one question. When do you plan to leave? So we have time until 4, right? Yeah. Okay, so we still have time. Because I would like to describe this approach to like finances and to just describe what we have, but probably let's first listen to Olga Polotska's presentation, okay? And then we will continue with other things, right? Okay.
Okay, Alexander, thank you so much. And well, we are really delighted to be part of the consortium. And unfortunately, in the morning, I didn't have time for the presentation of ours as a partner and as a member of the consortium. And before I start doing that and then representing a work package 2, administered by the National Research Foundation of Ukraine, I would first of all like to express our deepest gratitude to the coordinator of the project, Alexander Pavlo. You have done an amazing job, really, in a very short period of time, collecting such an amazing consortium. So while all of the consortium members received the evaluation sheet and the project received the highest score possible for the well, composition of the consortium, and I don't think this is an accident. This is really the result of well, your very systemic work and very deep understanding of the well, actually the stakeholders that can be involved in the project and that can well, yield the maximum well, impacts. So well, hopefully the project will become a success. Of course, well, that's always the beginning of any project is well, kind of enigmatic, and there are certain risks and challenges ahead of us, but I have no doubts that we will all cope, because really that's an amazing team. And while seeing everybody in person yesterday was an amazing pleasure for me personally. We don't enjoy this type of well, facial meeting, physical meeting each other now. So thank you so much for organizing that. And now let me well, briefly represent just a second. Yeah, the National Research Foundation of Ukraine. We, as usual, just, you know, enjoy some kind of a unique status. And so this project and the consortium is not an exception, because we are the unique national funder in the sphere of research and development. So while we, as a matter of fact, the National Research Foundation of Ukraine is the product of the massive reforms which were initiated by the state after 2014. And we're also, well, I would say a child of the, you know, well, this reform and the reform and the overall strategic movement of Ukraine towards the integration into the European Union. So while we are an EU for Ukraine funding instrument, because we fund research and developments on the competitive basis only, well, we do our best to incorporate and implement the best European practices. So, well, that was just, well, you know, the foundation of, well, when we started just functioning. So, well, the idea of the foundation was actually to implement the best practices of grant funding in the research and development sphere, just well, similarly as it is done in the European Union. And though we're quite young, and we actually started working, started operational back in 2020 only. Well, I must say that these recent years have been, well, a huge progress for the National Research Foundation of Ukraine and our institutional capacity. And one of the main vectors of this progress and development and our becoming better is actually massive international collaboration with our counterparts in the European Union, not only in the European Union, but mainly in the European Union. And since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, we have experienced as an institution and as professionals huge support of the European Union, of our European colleagues all across Europe. And hopefully, so will this project, so well, when we were approached by Alexander and just well inquiring if we would agree, we immediately said yes, because so well that aligns with our main vector of development, first of all. And well, I must admit that just well, the tasks and the plan of the whole project, well, satisfies our immediate needs as an institution. And again, being a unique grant funder in Ukraine, we also understand the challenges in this sphere and understand the importance of all mechanisms, all tools, all principles of open science implementation in Ukraine. Well, I must also say that we are a very early member of CARA, and we're very proud of that. We were among the very first Ukrainian institutions signing the coalition agreement. Well, besides that, because I would like to accentuate our experience in just, well, implementation of open science practices, we are a member of a powerful association, Science Europe, and we contribute to working groups on working on open science and research culture. And this exchange of opinions and best practices among funders, European funders, and us, well, has been very indicative for the last 2 years of the fact that many things are supposed to be and must be done in Ukraine in this area. Our mission is to support really the best research teams, research institutions, and most promising researchers, including early career researchers. And of course, development of international cooperation. I have already mentioned that this is really, well, in our genes. This is part of our, well, both everyday routine and our strategic goals. Well, as a matter of fact, so being a mechanism of financing the best researchers and the best research teams, we are at least expected, and we hope we are, well, one of the key factors to building the country's research capacity and taking into consideration the, well, ultimately complicated conditions our research community is going through at the moment, increasing our capacity and, well, increasing the impact from the actions of the National Research Foundation of Ukraine automatically well, helps to boost the research capacity on the state level. We are also aimed at forming a new powerful research potential in the priority areas of research and technology development, the areas that are urgent for Ukraine. And of course, integration into the European research area and into the global research area. As I have already mentioned, well, in the first years of our, and since the first years of our existence, well, one of the main vectors of our activities has been providing grant support to early career researchers, well, which has always been a priority for us and will remain so. It's also upgrading of scientific equipment and facilities, including research infrastructure, because this is a huge problem in Ukraine due to, well, a considerable lack of financing. For over 20 years, there has been, well, very little upgrade made in this sphere. So, well, we are aiming at improving the situation here. And of course, it's directing research efforts, well, to the most urgent research areas such as biosafety, biomedicine, ecological issues, cyber and information security, and of course, the list can go on. Another important thing is monitoring the most powerful scientific developments and inventions, and not only monitoring, but telling the world about them. This is popularization of Ukrainian research and of Ukrainian research potential. As for the objectives, it's support and stimulation of national fundamental and applied research, because, well, all our calls are bottom up, and we normally have applications for research proposals, well, both of this basic or fundamental character and applied. Then it's also the following objective is development of research infrastructure in Ukraine and its international integration, development of infrastructure of scientific research and support of research, well, done, performed by early career researchers. And as I have already mentioned, popularization of science and, well, specifically Ukrainian science. So, well, as far as our structure goes, well, we have 3 governing bodies in the National Research Foundation of Ukraine. First of all, it's the supervisory board. Then it's the scientific council headed by the chairman of the foundation and the directorate of the foundation. And I am honored to be the executive director of the National Research Foundation of Ukraine. So very briefly, information about, well, just, well, our calls and the budget budgets, and the number of successful projects. For you, I'm not going to read that, just will save your time. But as you can see, as compared to the European scale of funding, the sums which you can see on the screen may not be that impressive, but on the national scale, these figures are impressive, undoubtedly. And very briefly about our latest developments in international cooperation. Well, one of them was, launched, that's the COOL administered by the National Research Foundation of Ukraine, but with 100 financial support generous support from our partners in the United Kingdom, the University of Cambridge. That was a call that's and the projects are already being implemented of individual researchers. The following is the initiative, the international initiative between the National Research Foundation of Ukraine and the Dutch Research Council. So the budget of this initiative is €250,000. And here we have this, typical HOP-on facility, HOP-on COOL, when Ukrainian researchers working and staying in Ukraine can join running Dutch projects. The selection procedures are still going on, and very, very soon we will have the very first winners to the call, and we're so happy about that, really. Another initiative also launched in 2022 is a massive international initiative, and that combines participation. So, the architecture is quite complicated because here we have, apart from Ukraine, we have the United States of America, and here we have the leading agency here is the National Science Foundation of the United States. We have respective foundations, our counterparts in the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and 2 funding agencies from Poland. So you see the number of partners. So, this is a kind of a consortium too. And here the total budget allocated to support Ukrainian researchers is at the moment so far is about $1 million. Again, this support is aimed at Ukrainian researchers working and staying in Ukraine, but collaborating with, professionally collaborating, doing respective research with researchers from the partner countries. We already have 4 of winning proposals here, expecting more. But just, the scale of the initiative is really impressive, and it is called Impress You. So, I think this is not an accident. Another very important event, and I'm sure that most of you have heard about that, or maybe even participated in the launch event. So, this is the implementation of the project, fully financed by the European Commission, which is called Horizon Europe Office in Ukraine. This is the sign of the unprecedented support of the European Union and the European Commission of Ukraine and Ukrainian research community. So, the Horizon Europe Office in Ukraine is functioning already, and this is part of the National Research Foundation of Ukraine. So they're quite active, developing. So, the project started running in autumn 2022. So it's a 3-year project, and we place a lot of hope in the project and in the staff of the office being able to provide professional advice, recommendations, and counseling to a very vast just stakeholders, potential Horizon Europe applicants. The tasks and the objectives of the project are quite big. We're aiming quite large, and hopefully this project, which is, by the way, running almost parallel to to Open4UA project, started a little bit earlier. So hopefully both of the projects will be successful and evaluated high by our European partners. As I have already mentioned, we are a member of Science Europe Association, and this is a very, very important development in in the means of our professional life, and not only on the operational level, but on the strategic level, because the association represents funders, governmental funders mainly, and research performing organizations from all the European countries. And we have been quite an active member of this association, and due to the membership, we have developed a huge number of contacts, and our network, professional network, has grown tremendously. And as I have already mentioned, we signed the CARA coalition agreement quite early. Alexandra has already mentioned that. So, we are also members of the national chapter of CARA in Ukraine. Also moving. So, the coalition is developing very, very fast, which is amazing, actually. So, we do our best to move fast too, and to implement the main principles of the reform in our operational activities, and many things have already been done at the National Research Foundation of Ukraine. And now let me shift on to the presentation of the work package we are administering. So the title of the work package is Prioritizing Open Science at the National Level. I don't know if you can see everything well. Yeah, hopefully. We are the lead beneficiary here for this work project. So we'll actively start implementing the plans and the objectives beginning with month 7. Here actually one of the main ideas of this work package is that we will do our best to prioritize open science mechanisms and approaches and values, I would say, at the national level of Ukraine, based on knowledge transfer from European partners by producing CARA and open science-based recommendations for research project evaluation and state certification of institutions of higher education in Ukraine, as well as, the last but not the least, the development of an open database of the National Research Foundation of Ukraine projects in collaboration with Lviv Polytechnical National University. And I would say that the second component is nonetheless important than the former one. Because developing this kind of online instrument and implementing all the possible approaches of open science, it seems to me that's going to be a very clear sign of where the National Research Foundation is moving. And I hope we will set an example for other institutions in Ukraine, including universities, of course, and research performing organizations, in their understanding that the more available we make research results and information about researchers, about their achievements, the more effective the research ecosystem will become. And besides that, this openness will provide more accountability and automatically more trust on the level of stakeholders, partners, researchers, and society. So this is actually our philosophy that is behind the development of this tool. So, as far as the objectives go, objective 1 is co-creating recommendations for the implementation of CARA principles in the policies and practices of evaluating projects by national funders. And the recommendations provide recommendations on the approach to the implementation of the assessment of researchers and research organizations in Ukraine based primarily on qualitative judgment. The recommendations encourage Ukrainian institutions of higher education and other public bodies in charge of education and research to join the CARA agreement. This is also one of the objectives, one of the tasks. So the following objective is developing and deploying an open database of projects funded by the National Research Foundation of Ukraine, as I have already mentioned, The developed open database will include a data set of projects funded by us and the website providing the open access to the data set. I have already, hopefully I have already made clear our motivation for that. So the following objective is harmonization of reform of the reform of research assessment and as part of open science, prioritizing is harmonizing it with the national legislation, or vice versa, harmonizing the national legislation with the move and the spirit of the reform. Then it's furthering the work of national legislation amendment based on the new knowledge, evidence, and stakeholder feedback gained during the project implementation, particularly considering draft recommendations for implementing. Quora principles and the policies and practices of evaluating research projects and the state certification for institutions of higher education. This is also part of this, objective set. So, the following point is organizing a panel discussion on the legal aspects of the reform at the annual Kyiv International Legal Forum 2025, and we already look forward to that. So the mission is to discuss the legal aspects of the reform regarding the state certification of universities during the panel discussion at this forum in 2025. So as far as the deliverables go, so the first one, and we're accountable and responsible for that, it's recommendations for the implementation of Quora principles and the policies and practices of evaluating projects by national funders. Here we have the following target groups: the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, national funders, and other public bodies in charge of education and research. The following deliverable is development of the open database I have already mentioned. So, again, the target groups are the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, other public bodies in charge of education and research. It's also, of course, the managers and leadership of universities, and without any exception, all members of the academic community. And I would also add the civic society and Ukrainian society as such. Well, of course, that will take a little bit of time for the society to understand the value of this instrument, but hopefully we will arrive at this at this stage too. And the following deliverable is delivering recommendations on the state certification of institutions of higher education based on open science principles. So, here we have the two main target groups: it's the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, and of course the managers and leadership of Ukrainian universities. So, here, the information, the contact information of the National Research Foundation of Ukraine, of course, would be most pleased to answer any of your questions, and maybe you have some ideas. We would love to hear that from you. Alexander, I hope I didn't take too much of the time.
No, many thanks for this presentation, and actually it was quite informative, and gave us a chance to learn more about what National Research Foundation is doing and other insights. Right, dear colleagues, I already see the hand of Sebastian, and if you have any other questions, please also prepare them. Sebastian, please.
Sorry for being again the one to first put the hand up. It was such an interesting presentation that, of course, there's some questions to follow up. Thank you very much, Olga. It was really really nice to see the insights. And one thing I'd particularly be interested in is with these hop-on facility with Flanders, was it FWO? How are your insights there already? How this works for you? I'm specifically asking for the reason that in another organization, we are currently working on recommendations for the EU widening program, including quite critical view actually of the EU hop-on facility, because most of the reports and most of the colleagues who actually try to use that have experienced quite a lot of limitations on the EU-based one because it's so slow and so stiff that it's really, really hard to make use of it. So in comparison to that, how did it work at Flanders? How is that set up? Is there anything we can take away and maybe we can also use for the other recommendations so that the EU can get better as well?
So Sebastian, well, any design or just design of any international initiative like that, of course, one of the main challenges is actually well, overcoming the hurdles of national regulations, and in case of the European Union, so well, the hurdles are even higher, I would say. Yeah, so this is quite clear. So well, looking back, how we did that? Well, first of all, there was the very deep motivation, but this is not Flanders, it's the Netherlands, it's the Dutch
Sorry,
Research
yes,
Council.
yes, the Dutch
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So,
Right.
well, that was the initial move. Well, again, we got acquainted with the representatives of NWO at one of the assemblies of Science Europe. So how it all started. And after that, just well, our counterparts voiced their desire and wish to support Ukrainian researchers. They didn't know how. We didn't know how either. So, well, we started designing something. And the Dutch Research Council, just like us, operates state public money. So, and this also implies a lot of limitations. But where there is a will, there is a way. And as a matter of fact, after their consultations with the government and thinking very hard about the possibilities which are in the legislation, so they provided us with such an option, saying that, well, hypothetically, and not only hypothetically, just well, in practice, well, they already have this instrument of hop-on facilities or hop-on calls for international partners. But before Ukraine, they only used to have the researchers joining Dutch research groups physically, means traveling to the Netherlands. So this is not the case for Ukraine. So, well, then was just, well, another round of negotiations, and actually they found the way. They found the way of doing that. So, well, actually the mechanism is just like that. It's providing boosting the international collaboration by means of taking on at least one researcher from the partner country. The only exception is that the person is not traveling to the Netherlands, because just well, for Ukraine, that's more than problematic at the moment. And then it worked out. So, well, Sebastian, if you are more interested, I will gladly share all the documents, we had the agreements with you, and just for us, that was not that complicated, because we don't have these limitations and we do not administer the financial part. So that was the decision of our Dutch colleagues, and of course, we're so grateful. Well, the only important aspect, and by the way, everything I have mentioned as far as the international support goes, is providing the support to Ukrainian researchers staying and working in Ukraine. This is the most important aspect.
Great, thanks. Very informative, and I definitely come back to exchanging about the documents and getting some more insights, but maybe a little later, not to hold this meeting on too long. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Dear colleagues, do you have any other questions to Olga? Oh, Svetlana, please.
Hello again, dear colleagues and partners, and Olga, and very welcome to the team of Erasmus Plus family. And thanks a lot also for all that your team is doing, and especially also congratulations to the Horizon office. And I'm sure that there would be a strong synergy. And I assume that also your participation in this project as a partner would ensure the synergy based on the experience of Horizon program, in terms of the necessity maybe of some legislation to be done furthermore also in the scientific and research area. So I see that there would be a good contribution in order to synergize together with the Horizon program and also Erasmus program in order to further transformation in the education and research together. Thank you very much indeed. And one more comment is about the crossing the border. I'm sure that Alexander within the current projects also will have the experience in terms of working also with the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine. So there is also the possibility to inquire for the letter from the ministry to support the participation of the representatives of the universities in the partnership of Erasmus Plus project. Since this program is implemented in Ukraine based on international law, it is ratified by the Verkhovna Rada as the law, and it is actually there were no delays or challenges of crossing the border for participants of Ukrainian parts for the limited period of time. Of course, it was like up to 3 weeks mostly, and actually this works for Erasmus Plus projects already during the martial law, so there would be a need for the preparatory measures well beforehand. And also, if you have any other projects or programs with Ukraine, also please refer to maybe to the to your Ukrainian partners to double check with the Ministry of Education and Science if there is the possibility to get this letter. Of course, the decision is taken by the State Border Control Services, and it is also a possibility to follow up it, in fact. And also there might be some challenges of blockage of the payment from EU partners, for example, to Ukraine, which is not the case in your type, but in any case, just please do not forget to contact maybe us or just the University of Ukraine who are there to liaison with the banks where they are situated, and this would help actually to provide the official letter certifying that the bank is working at the territory controlled by Ukrainian authorities, and then it's unblock the payments. So we had a lot of challenges with that with some projects. So there are a lot of solutions already made during the martial law in Ukraine. So I'm sure that we will overcome all the challenges together. So do not forget to communicate at any stage. And thanks again.
Alexander, can I ask you for a very short comment and actually react to Svetlana's words? Svetlana, we are part of Erasmus Plus family, and was saying that I can hardly believe it, as a matter of fact. We're so happy about just, that, and our using part of our capacity actually to, be part of the amazing, amazing job done by Erasmus Plus as such, and Erasmus Plus office in Ukraine. So we are already relatives.
That's true.
Right. So I mean, it's all. What I apologize. Do you want some comment from me, right? On what specifically, if I understand correctly, no? Okay, I misunderstood. Fine. As I said, thanks, Svetlana, for intervention. Dear colleagues, do you have any other questions, answers to Olga? Questions or comments on what she just said? No. All right, dear colleagues. So before we continue, while we still have most of our colleagues here in the room, right? I suggest that we briefly discuss this, let's say, question with financial aspect of financial management, right? I will not share the exact numbers because we are live streaming and I don't want to interrupt it. I just want to discuss the general approach, right? And it's very good that we have Svetlana here, so she can comment as well and probably suggest something if it's relevant, okay? It won't take long, but please be very, attention. Okay, and so the thing is that, as you know, we have already received as coordinator pre-financing installment, right? Which is 70% of the whole grant amount. And normally we will receive the 30%, right, after the end of the project. So in 3 years, right, roughly. And we have 6 work packages which are disseminated in time as a waterfall. We have only one work package, which is project management, which is disseminated through all the project, right? I will now probably show you what I mean by going back to my first presentation for today, just to make it more visual for you. I hope you can see my screen. Yes, so that's our, the picture you've already seen. So we have a work package 1, which is disseminated, which is like lasting the whole timeline of the project. And then we have what is like something like a waterfall, right? We have work package 2, which ends after half year of the project. Then we have project 3, work package 3, work package 4, and work package 5, and work package 6. We have counted how much money we have and what we can, let's say, how we can spend this money. So we have enough funds to cover, fully cover VP2, VP3, VP4, and VP5. So we are not able to cover with this money VP1 fully, only probably the strip and procurement of equipment, which needs to be done early in the project, as early as possible. So the idea is that we distribute the funds according to needs of the partners as was planned from work package 2 till work package 5. And then when we receive this, hopefully everything is successful, we receive the second installment, we then disseminate the money which are left. So one of the rules in this lump sum grants is that you can spend money when you have finished the work package, right? So we have this waterfall of work packages. We will not finish the work package 1 till the end of the project. And work package 6 is in the very end of the project. The last task of work package 6 is our form, which is like, several months before the end of the project. So it will be only logical that we will receive the funds for this in the end. So I just want to articulate this. You don't need to decide now, but if you have any questions, we would like to discuss. So in this case, we are calculating how much funds are dedicated for all the partners to work packages from 2 to 5 and disseminate the money accordingly. We have enough for this. To let you know that the main, let's say, beneficiary for the work package 1 is Lviv Polytechnic, because we are project managers. So we are actually a little bit postponing some funds for ourselves. But that's the only way we can do. You can check it very easily with the project budget. So I just want to ask, so in this case, we have all our travel covered, except the travel to Open Science Forum at the end of the project in Kyiv, which you don't know what will be the situation in 3 years. We hope for the better, but still. Of course, these funds will be reimbursed from this last day, but in this case, we have funds for staff costs, we have funds for procurement of equipment, and we have funds for all other travel. You don't need to decide now, but if you have any questions or comments regarding this, it would be more than. I just don't want to share. I don't want to stop the broadcasting and live stream because I'm not sure I will be able to resume it, and I don't want to share the exact numbers to the wider audience. Just, for security purposes. But the general approach. What do you think about?
And we have a kind of commitment to co-finance, right? A little bit.
Yes, that's right. That's a little bit different. I'm speaking about the funds which are EU grant funds.
Also, and what is the another option? So this one is to spend money.
Another option is to give every month 70%, which will make tremendous troubles because some people just don't need this 70%. They will just be lying down in the bank account, and then you will use it in there. So because this is more balanced approach, everyone will receive everything which you have to receive, but you will receive some part in the end, as we also do. So we propose this approach because that's the only way we can see it at the moment. So one example is just like giving everyone 70%, and then we are like in the trouble. Otherwise, we see how much funds do we need from work package 2 to work package 5, and we give you this amount of funds. So you will all receive different percents. But this is logical because it's money you need for the project.
But again, the grant will arrive in a tranche, right? We will,
Yes.
first tranche,
That will
it's
be-
not all the 70%, right?
Okay, once again, we have received as coordinator 70% of the lump sum, not 100%, only
Yes.
70%. We will receive, if we do everything in a good way, then we will receive other 30% after the end of the project.
You mean you already received 70% of the?
We have
whole-
already communicated this to the partners many times.
No, I mean, so that 10%.
No.
Okay, sorry then. Well,
Svetlana has her hand raised, please.
yeah, Svetlana will.
Yeah, please, if you have comments, Svetlana.
Yes, then just a short comment about this. There are some projects which in fact this year, and we have raised this issue already to European Commission, to the EACA, Executive Agency. They received the pre-financing in a way of the 70% of the tranche during the eligibility period, and 30% should be paid after the final balance payment, as it's called. So others received like it was before, like 70%, then the reporting to EU, and then 20% during the eligible periods, and would be like 90% of the whole grant, and then 10% balance is paid after the final report. So in any case, what should be ensured is the funds for the equipment purchase, and also the funds for the traveling, as well as furthermore the remaining part is for the staff cost, and also for other resources you have to develop. For example, if there are any publications or other things, so then we'll see how it will evolve. But in any case, we raised this question also to the European Commission, and would see how they will react in order to allow to work for the partners for the projects where there are the partners from Ukraine, that it is going to be like it was before. I mean, as it is the case for other projects, because we don't know which projects were selected with the scheme for the 70% after 30 or 70, 20, and 10. So this is in the process of cooperation and communication with the executive agency. So we'll come back to you if situation changes. But at the moment, your project has this kind of scheme. So we should all discuss and agree on the schedule of payments which we provided. And one suggestion was like everybody receives now 70%, but if I understand correctly, this includes also the equipment purchase. So in such a way, again, agree separately whether the equipment purchase would be done centrally by Ukrainian partner, or it would be done by all partners separately. So just double check it and discuss how you organize this purchase procedure. And also to see how are you going to manage this grant in terms of the providing on time the reporting documents also to the accounting of Lviv Polytechnic, because they have to keep also the pervichka, as we call it. And also you need a list of such documents which should be kept with the grant holder first. And also all other universities are working and managing the grant funds according to the national legislation and the institutional regulations for the rates of the payments for the staff cost, and also like managing the travel costs and working in a very transparent way and according to Ukrainian legislation. As you know, we have the like guidelines or methodological recommendations based on the information we collect as the experience and best practices already passed by a lot of audits. And there are a lot of cases and approaches which are already done by different universities. So just make sure that you have enough funds to implement the key activities you've done. And during the process of the implementation, you should keep all the documents according to Ukrainian legislation and according to the project application, where you describe in details the approaches to the quality management, to the finance management. If, for example, you describe that you're going to use this individual mobility forms or forms, then they should be captured. If not, then you should find the solution of the documentation. There wouldn't be any solution, but the list of the documents which you would need to provide for the reporting purposes. But in any case, this is the approach at the moment within your project, and it is stipulated in a grant agreement. And I would like to refer that all the recommendations, guidelines, and the responsibilities are described in two key documents. This is the guidelines program guide, Erasmus Plus program guides, which has also the part C, where the implementation of the project is described and the approaches, and also the grant agreement, which regulates all other things, communication procedures and other things. Where you are flexible within your budget, this is only within the work package. To make the changes between work packages is possible only if you apply to the specific procedure of the amendment to your grant agreement, with the justification, of course, via the system, which is Sigma, which is used for the management of the grant. But in any case, that should be communicated with your project officer. And first of all, of course, each Ukrainian university should, at your level, check the situation, and also if there is any changes, delays, absolutely without any delay, to inform your project coordinator, Alexander, in order to be prepared for the further communication with the project officer in EACA. So this is the matter also of communication and your arrangements inside. As you know, there is no specific guide how to use the grant anymore. Only these two documents are available, and also we provided the information on the specifics of the implementation of the projects in Ukraine. Then maybe this short information about the registration of the project, which needs to be done as fast as possible, because it then provides the possibility to transfer funds to EU partners in Euro and to Ukrainian partners in Euro, and also to become a priority for payment for the state treasuries based on the regulations adopted during the martial law. And this is also described in terms of the guidelines we provided for the specifics of the implementation of the martial law. I hope that Ukrainian partners actually have the access to the page, which is on our website for the beneficiaries. And you can easily find there the information for the key action 2 project beneficiaries, where all the situation is described and all the documents are collected. And for the EU partners, I'm now currently also finishing and finalizing the short description of the specifics of the 2023 calls projects. We had it for 22, and now it's like slide specific, so that is why I'm just updating it. And please raise also the questions about this percentage of the pre-financing and further implementation during the grant holders meeting. This is the right place and right time to address this question, in order to not to block, the implementation, because we all understand that it is difficult to find out the 30% during the eligibility period to cover all the activities planned within the project. So it's like a slight maybe comment from us.
Thanks, Svetlana, for this comment. Of course, we understand that we have several things to do, and of course, registering our project is one of the first things we should focus on. But I just raised this question because this procedure and the rules of, let's say, distributing what we already have should be present in the partnership agreements, which we will soon sign. And I mean, this has to be very clearly stated. how much funds you receive in the first installment and how much you receive in this. I'm not asking all partners to, give me yes or no now. I thought we'll be eligible because we definitely need a steering committee meeting for this, where we will prepare. I will of course report it. Just want you to think and check the budget. So in this case, just my last comment on this and we continue. So in this case, we have enough funds for VP2. So we go everywhere and our partners on European Union have funds to ensure this. We have for VP3, our colleagues from Kyiv have everything needed for this work package. We have for VP4 and for VP5. So the potency, will be prepared. Also, we have in this case funds for procurement of equipment and probably even for the forum in Kyiv. So check and we will discuss this later. If you have some specific comments from me right now, you're most welcome to ask. We move forward, right? Okay. Then, but of course, you can approach me directly anytime to discuss this thing with me. All right, VP4, right? Wow, VP5. Okay, we are closer and closer. And let me just announce that Alexandra Antonuk, our advisory board member, has just joined us. She squeezed through the very strong blood of the ministry, and she is now with us. So we will, once we finalize on the two packages left, and we will of course give her
It's
stage.
very interesting for me to get more about the project. It's why I'm very inspired by your conversation.
Okay, very good. And also we are waiting for Yulia Bezrashenko, who might join us online, and probably for other advisory board members as well. We will see. Okay, so without further ado, I give floor to our colleague Gorgi, and you just need you have already sent us a presentation, right? Oh, it's on your email. All right. So the one on the right side is also like this. Hello, once again. Vice Director for Scientific Work prepared this presentation, but unfortunately he cannot make this presentation. So I am, as a coordinator from Kyiv Polytechnical Institute, will present one of the work package and maybe answer your questions if you will have some. So open science is a modern approach to research in the whole world and in Ukraine too, if we want to be an integrated part of the European research area. So Open for Ukraine is important. In the project, TU Delft Polytechnical Institute is responsible for work package 5, prioritizing open science and the institutional level. Main task in the work package is promote institutional reform in the field of open science and improve scientific assessment in higher educational institutions by developing and piloting appropriate tools. The following actions are planned. Developing institutional toolkit for open science implementation and research assessment advancement. The toolkit will provide an approach to the implementation of open science principles and research assessment policies at the institutional level. The next task is organizing a training workshop for the open science research assessment institutional toolkit for pilot higher educational institutions. It will be training the trainers and preparing the piloting years in Ukrainian partners of higher educational institutions. And the service international feedback and coordination session at the University of Ljubljana for filling the knowledge gaps and discussing the recent updates on open research, open science, and research assessment. Main documents
for development of institutional open science research assessment implementation toolkit are the following. UNESCO recommendation of open science, the European open science policy, or the EUA open science agenda for 2025, Leading Manifesto for Research Ethics, Declaration on Research Assessment, DORA, Coalition for Advancing Research Assessment, COAR. We also consider the best experience of foreign and Ukrainian institutions. Important issues for institutional open science research assessment implementation toolkit. They are focused on global trends in science reform and best practices on international and foreign institutions, taking into account the peculiarities and realities of Ukraine and national priorities, and developing the groundwork for improving the scientific activities of Ukrainian institutions, promoting quality science and best practices. The two key tasks are the following: to help institutions implement open science as a norm of educational and research activities, and also to help institutions create the necessary conditions to integrate the values and principles and practices of open science into all work processes. What includes the toolkit content? There are going to be policies and plans, methodology and indicators for research assessment, and guides and recommendation, other things that could be used to implement the main ideas and principles. What will include the toolkit? Institutional open science capacity, research data management, access to research results, research assessment, intellectual property and ethics, licensing and publishing, for example, monographs, journals, open educational resources, other things, citizen science, open science competence, and open science infrastructure. And the challenges we see today from the first day, from the kickoff meeting, far before implementing open sciences principles, but we see here some challenges that we may face in these working packages. We lack information in the Ukraine of how to categorize information and to divide it between what can be opened, what should be patented, or what is, for example, some secrets during the especially applied researches. The second thing is about the scientific community is insufficient understanding of open science principles, and as a result of our researchers, the desire to limit access to the research results, and also not enough convenient tools to ensure access to research results, meaning institutional repositories and other things where to store the research data, research results, etc. So those challenges we may face in this working package. And in the end, our contacts of myself, Georgi Vasiliev, my email and contact number. Please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them.
Dear colleagues, are there any questions? Georgi? No? Okay. Then everything is clear. Many thanks for the presentation. So, and looks like we have only one package left, right? So it's the last one. This is on me, so let me just PP6 indeed. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. That's last but not least, right? The impact and dissemination, which is of course the final thing in every project, but it actually leads to what project was designed for, right? Impact. Okay, and our work package 6 is, first of all, it is scheduled for the very end of the project. So that's last 1 year and a half. Yes, so each column is 3 months. Yes, indeed. So we have 1 year, 2 years. Yeah. So we will have it started in the end of the project, and it will be piloting of our institutional toolkits in Ukrainian higher education institutions and supporting and assessing their info. Also, we have very important output that's organized National for Open Science and Advanced Research Assessment, right? Here we have 3 levels. So as I said, that's supporting and assessing the piloting. Piloting will take place in Berdiansk, in university, right? In Mariupol State University and in Ternopil, National Medical Universities, right? We will support and assess their inform with all our colleagues, but of course with some other university as well. And we will organize a national forum to summarize everything and actually see what we can do next, probably, right? Because this is only one of the steps. So that's basically all. And as this work package will be, let's say, the most distant work package from what we have now, I don't have any other specific details regarding this. But, and speaking again from the budget, that's the work package you don't have money for. But given that at the moment, it will be at the very end of the project, we can do that with our own funds and get reimbursed after the successful end of the project, right? Okay, any questions, comments regarding area?
Maybe a suggestion, maybe open up this piloting process to other higher education institutions as well, those who would like to test and some partners who commit some resources now will be able to do that on a funded basis to support the implementation, because then maybe we can have more than 3 pilots.
Let me tell you even more, Irina. We cannot restrict people from implementing our toolkit, which will be openly available.
Questions, provide some support.
That's a very good idea, and I mean that of course I don't think that would be like super. So if we deliver a good toolkit and we aim to do that, then people will just take it and implement. And people are not, let's say, also very clever. But yes, you're right, and it's a very good idea. Ideally, all Ukrainian FAEs take it and implement it. So that's the ideal approach. You will see. But yes, that's a very good comment. Dear colleagues, are there any other comments, questions?
We had 2 displaced university and 1 which was not. Will it be feasible, sensible to have displaced majority of displaced university? Maybe just to have
that was an initial idea of the, but let me tell you that we, of course,
we're doubting about the if all the indicators we can approach.
but we will also pilot this toolkit in our own universities. I mean, from other, I mean, because that's will be piloting, which is official piloting within the project. Of course, we will pilot it in our universities as well. Let me tell you that the piloting de facto has already started, because Kyiv Polytechnic has already implemented the policy of open science in the university. So they are already somewhat piloting it. So when I'm speaking about piloting within the project, it means that it's like a task we need to deliver in a formal way. If in parallel to that, as Irina says, other people will be doing the same, if we will be doing the same, of course we will share the data and evidence, but we have tasks like this, we have resources allocated for your universities to do that, and for us to help you with that. So that's, and this actually everyone saw involvement of the space universities as an advantage. I mean, and even this was mentioned in our report. And of course, medical university, which is somewhat a little bit different from polytechnic, let's say, universities. And this is it. Of course, involvement of the space university and medical universities makes our task a little bit more tricky. But exactly. But at the same time, that's potential giving us more potential impact and diversity, which is quite perspective. Okay, dear colleagues, are there any other questions, comments? No? All right. Then let me congratulate you that we passed all the work packages for today and did it in a very nice way. Probably, colleagues, do you have any general questions or comments like regarding the whole work packages? Any comments, questions? Okay, then let me invite Professor Antoniuk. Sorry, Svetlana.
It's just very short one, the overall recommendation, not recommendation, but reminder maybe that in any case, all your working groups are going to be international. So we are going to work with your EU partners to learn the experience, to share the experience also with your EU partners. And that's also among the philosophy of the approach of the capacity building projects. So do not forget about it. Just to also mention in all your resources you developed the references to your EU partners in the project, and also to make the resources you're going to develop available for students like PhD students or any other cycle students with the readings or just references or recommended readings, just to make them also included into the educational program. So it's also a kind of the recommendations which are usually done for the with the philosophy of the approach that everything which is done within the project should be used for the students who are in fact the target audience we are all working for. So just a slight maybe recommendation of this thing.
Many thanks, Svetlana. Of course, we will be committed to sharing our developments as much as possible, and of course, giving credit for everything in a proper way. And yes, ideally, we should already thinking about incorporating our results in educational, say, components. But that's, I mean, that's so much into our heads that we don't even have to articulate this. But yes, many thanks for this comment in any case. Again, okay, our advisory board member, Professor Antoniuk, please. Yeah, but please come here. So we, because we are recording and live streaming on Facebook, so we need, yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me? It reminds me the location of our team, like a COVID time, when the distance between participants was at least 1.5 meters, and also this bilateral or mixed case of event when online and offline are doing together, but it is not the case that it should make us in a different part of the set, but you should be on the same side. What I mean is that it is very important that project unites different partners, different teams under the common umbrella, which is very, very important for Ukraine. True to say for me, well, it was very unexpected when Alexandra has called me and asked me to be a member of the advisory board. It was a very difficult decision for me, since first of all, I don't like to do something formally. I like to be involved in any work that I'm doing, and that's why it's not formal for me to be an advisory board, but I'm very interested in the result of this project. That's why let me propose, let me ask you, if I can help somehow, if you may formulate the task for advisory board, you're welcome. I think Yulia and other advisory board members will be ready and glad to help you. And of course, I personally will be very interested in the result of your project, since the results that you will get will transform the all Ukrainian behavior of science in case of open science, and how we can scale and learn and teach other scientists to implement the open science methodology, knowledge, and technique. So I think that your first kickoff meeting was very successful, very interesting, and let me wish you further success. Thank you.
Okay, many thanks. Okay, so I have just texted Yulia Bezverchenko, so she will join us in 5 minutes. Okay. Working with you, she has already joined. Perfect. So because Yulia now is located in the United States, so the time difference makes it a little bit challenging. But everything is fine. We are now at the hour which is probably feasible for here. So Yulia, can you hear us? Oh, okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well. So, dear colleagues, this is, for those who don't know, Yulia, she is our advisory board member, a former Director General of Directorate of Science and Innovation, if I'm speaking correctly with the title. And she's currently in the United States, but still joins us frequently. And we are very happy to have her. So, Yulia, the stage is yours, please.
Thank you, Sasha. I'm very happy to see all of you, and I want to congratulate all you with this kickoff event. I think this project is itself very important, and I will say why I think so, but also I think that it is especially important now because it shows the resilience of Ukrainian expert system, of Ukrainian science system, and our will to transform in order to become more resilient and stronger and to be capable to help Ukraine to win and to reconstruct. So about this project, I personally think that its importance in the thing which was a problem for all the years of Ukrainian independence. We never had a proper system of evaluation of research in Ukraine, of differentiating of quality of different levels. Like we all know that in Ukraine, unfortunately, there is not so many instruments, financial or other type, which can stimulate good behavior, which can, for example, provide some additional resources for scientists who do high quality research, who do things regarding the open science philosophy. And that's why I think this behavior was seen only by those who really personally appreciate these things or think it's important just because it's part of their own culture. But we really want and need this to be implemented at the national level. That's why I think that expert discussion around these questions, creating consensus, adapting things from international European best practices, adapting them to our own system is especially important. As you know, always there are people who are like innovators who are taking the ideas the first, and then they become the people who put these ideas into their own community. So I think these people in this kickoff meeting, people who are part of this project, are these people. So I think that transformation of evaluation system in Ukraine of research institutions, maybe evaluation of researchers themselves and other important policy, national science policy things, they will benefit a lot from the results of this project. So I want to say thank you for all people who've been involved in creating this project. I think it wasn't easy to even create, to dream about it, but you were not only capable to do this, but you're also starting this process now. And I'm looking forward to the results of this project, and I'm hoping it will become a big transformation inside Ukrainian science community, and it will make it possible to reach our ultimate goal, to make Ukrainian science more visible, international, more open to the world, but also more capable to help Ukraine to win and to reconstruct. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you all.
Thanks, Yuda, so much. What time is it now? Where are you? What's the time now?
I'm now in Washington, D.C., so it's 9 a.m. It's much easier than from California.
Then good morning, because I saw your background. Okay, it's like 7 or something. So 9 is more or less fine. So thanks for joining. And actually, what I want to do now is to answer both Yulia's probably not articulated question and Alexandra said, what do we want from our advisors? We want advice. That's very simple. And we will try to disseminate our results and outputs early and show you them early so you are able to make input. And also, in our project, we have such thing as like 2 times a year, we have national consensus workshops, and it will be online meeting, of course, right? Which is more feasible for everyone. Where we will be reporting our results to like Ukrainian scientific community, general public, ministry, whoever else, all stakeholders. And of course, the role of advisory board is to participate, of course, if they are able to do that, and provide feedback. Dear colleagues, so our agenda for today is completed, even 1 hour earlier than planned. But again, any comments, suggestions, whatever? No? Okay, so then I suggest that everyone gets us here, so we just wave. Dear all, let's please. One last action for me, last request for today. Not to yeah, so we just wave to our speaker. Thanks to everyone who was here with us. Last man standing, right? The most resilient. So thanks for everyone who was listening to us, for all the comments, and we are looking forward to a feedback and collaboration. Thanks a lot, and we are stopping our live stream. Have a nice and safe evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.
The best.